Calls to boycott China-owned companies. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Let's have a look at this article, which is discussing growing calls to boycott China-owned companies here in Australia. Now, before we go through this article by Alexis Carey, there's one thing that I just want to draw to everyone's attention, and that's the economic complexity disparity between the Australian economy and the Chinese economy. We're ranked 73rd in the world. China is much more advanced than we are. The goods and exports that we send to China, the biggest destination for our exports, include coal, iron ore, gold, petroleum, food products, wine, wool. And what we're importing from China, our biggest source of imports are cars, refined petroleum. Here, hang on, if we click there, there we go, computers. Number one, computers. Then broadcasting equipment, everyone. Look at that. There you have it. I mean, right now I'm using literally broadcasting equipment from an Australian-owned company, but it's all manufactured over in China. I bought a Rode Podcaster, and I can't, hashtag not sponsored, but I can't recommend them highly enough. But I went out of my way to try and buy an Australian brand, and when I got the support here, the desk mount that came from China, and it kind of ruined the illusion for me. So let's have a look at this, because I think a lot of people are going to realize, or maybe some people will be shocked into realizing how difficult it is going to be, actually, as the average Australian consumer, to avoid doing business with Chinese-owned companies. I can tell you, I've tried to specify Australian-made products for construction projects as an architect. And you can do it, but then the builder will come in, look, I've got this alternative, a third of the price. Sure, you may have to turn the fridge off every 2 hours, but, it's cheaper. And I'm not kidding, that was a requirement. You had to defrost a fridge for a commercial fridge. We'd recommend one for a mine, a scope one, and then brought in a Chinese knockoff or alternative, fraction of the price, but the warranty was essentially useless. So furious Aussies are now calling for a boycott of all Chinese-owned companies in Australia, and it turns out there are a lot of them. Well, yes, there would be. There certainly would be. That's one thing. A lot of people are going to be shocked, everyone. I think a lot of people are going to be shocked. A list of 41 Aussie wineries and vineyards that are actually owned by Chinese businesses sparked fury yesterday in light of Beijing's draconian restrictions on local industries. But now attention has turned to other Australian companies that are fully or partially controlled by foreign interests. The explosive winery list kicked off a national conversation about foreign ownership, with many Australians calling for more transparency and demanding a wider boycott of all Chinese-owned businesses in Australia as the trade war rages on. I mean, if there's a trade war or if it escalates into a real conflict, we're screwed. Australia, we've got no competitive advantage. Our competitive advantage, and we can go over, let's have a look. What we'll do is we will compare our countries here. Country to country, we'll do Australia to China, just to compare our competitive advantage in different goods and materials. Because we're not an advanced economy, everyone. We may be an advanced nation with the products and goods and services you can get here, but with what we can locally manufacture, we are not comparable to some of the other countries. We don't have advanced manufacturing here in Australia. We used to be quite advanced and quite a leader, but we've been left behind. Try and get a silicon chip manufactured in Australia and good luck. So here we have Australia and China. So our exports to China, they're number one of all the countries in the world. China's exports to Australia, we're 11th. So we're their 11th biggest consumer of exports. That's not that impressive, everyone, when you look at some of the other countries. Now, look at our top product from China to Australia is computers. Our top product from Australia to China is iron ore. There's orders of magnitude of complexity in these two products. Iron ore has been used since the Iron Age and probably even before that. Computers, well, they've been used since the digital age. how long has it been since Australians have actually manufactured an entire computer? This is the thing, we're in such a modern global economy, the idea of manufacturing everything locally, it's kind of outdated, everyone. It's much more advanced. You couldn't even manufacture a pencil locally these days. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to understand the implications of making calls to boycott particular countries, because it's probably going to hurt us a lot more than it will hurt them. They won't even notice it. So these are our exports from Australia to China and from China to Australia, as we said. This is the latest data. And we can see here just the trade value. And here's the difference in imports from China and Australia. So every country is importing more from China than from Australia, except for Papua New Guinea, everyone, down there. And if we scroll down here, here's the exports by product between Australia and China. There's the comparative advantage. And you can see here, we have a comparative advantage in iron ore. And I don't know why that's loading up so funny. And coal and raw zinc. And they have an advantage in self-propelled rail transport. And what's this? Safes from China. And even up here, broadcast equipment and computers. So there you go. I mean, this is a good, and I'll reload this to see if it tidies it up. It may not. It's acting a bit slow at the moment. But this is good to give you an understanding of the differences between our countries, everyone. So let's jump back here to this article. So, expose all CCP Chinese Communist Party funding in Australia, one outraged Twitter user insisted, while another called on the country to boycott China and stand up for Australia. Time to compile a list of all Australian companies which favour jobs, manufacturing and industry in fascist China in preference of those in Australia. There are plenty, and lots of big names. Time to campaign buy Aussie, not Chinese. Boycott made in China, another posted. Well, here's the thing, guys. You can try. It's going to be tough. Just go to your local shop and see where things are made. Not much is made in Australia anymore, and if it is made in Australia, it may actually only be assembled in Australia. That's the harsh reality, guys. And it turns out there are probably more Chinese-owned companies in Australia than many of us realise. Bellamy's, Chinese appetite for Australian baby formula, has been insatiable for years on end, and last year Chinese dairy company Minigu Dairy Company snapped up infant formula producer Bellamy's in a deal valued at around $1.5 billion. The deal was given the green light by the Foreign Investment Review Board, which deemed the acquisition was not contrary to Australia's national interest. And in August this year, Minigu Dairy Company was also poised to take over Lions Dairy and Drinks, the company behind Australia's favourites such as Big M Dare Iced Coffee, before the $600 million sale collapsed at the last minute. I mean, it's not like they're going to take. It's not like they're going to take the facilities away, the land away. You know, Energy Australia. It sounds as Australians, as Aussies, as Thong and Barbecue, but Energy Australia has been a wholly owned subsidiary of Hong Kong-based China Light and Power Co. since 2011. Alinta Energy. The firm was sold to Chinese energy giant Chow Tai Fook Enterprises for $4 billion and was approved by then Treasurer Scott Morrison in 2017. A whistleblower later alleged that personal records of clients were stored in multiple countries in a direct breach of conditions of sale imposed by the Australian government, with Labor Senator Deb O'Neill slamming Mr. Morrison for the privacy data of over 1 million Australians being at risk. Okay. Come on, what's the difference if it's stored here or overseas? See, this is the thing. So many people put all their data out anyway. Happily will give their data and their web browsing to Google for free stuff. So Ansell, Australia's Ansell condom business, was sold to Chinese parties for $800 million in 2017. It was then taken over by China's Human Well Healthcare and CITIC. The company was built by entrepreneur Eric Norman Ansell in 1929, and at the time of the sale, it was seen as yet another blow for Australia's ailing manufacturing sector. Well, there you go. You can't, guys, you can't buy frangers anymore. No more condoms. Gonna have to start having kids here in Australia, guys. Time to get married and settle down. Daydream Island and other resorts. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, this. I kind of feel sorry for him. It was first the Japanese and now it's the Chinese that are going to learn that these resorts are just complete money sinks. Wait till they get destroyed a few times in the storm season. But anyway, Chinese investors have spent a fortune buying up Queensland tourism assets in recent years, including famous resorts like Daydream and Lindeman Islands, the Sheraton Mirage Port Douglas, and Gold Coast hotels like Plaza Versace, Sofitel, and Crown Plaza. There's also a high-profile spat between wealthy developer China Bloom, which purchased the main lease of Keswick Island in the Whitsundays in 2019, and locals who accused the company of kicking them off a local beach. Swiss. The vitamin giant was founded in Australia but sold to Health and Happiness, a Chinese company based in Hong Kong, previously known as Biostime International, in a $1.7 billion two-step deal in 15 and 16. Over the years, some of Australia's biggest names have fronted the brand, including Chris Hemsworth, Nicole Kidman, and Adam de Minar. But I mean, see, I personally, I see all these magic pills as a crock of BS. Okay, you're not getting, ripped like him or lean just eating these magic pills, guys. You got to live a healthy life and eat healthy. And here's a little dose of reality. Humans evolved without these things, for a very long time. So, let them have it. Meriden Airport, China's largest airline, state-run China South Airlines, scored a 100-year lease for Meriden Airport in Western Australia in 1993. It is used for China's aviation training, but the deal has proved controversial over the years, with aviation entrepreneur Dick Smith telling the West Australian in 2018 it was concerning. It's a real problem. The Chinese now own a tremendous amount of our land, Mr. Smith said. Port of Darwin. Another controversial lease is the Port of Darwin, which passed into Chinese hands for 99 years in 2015. It was taken over by Landbarge Australia, a subsidiary of Shandong Landbridge Australia, and even sparked criticism from the former US President Barack Obama, who apparently scolded then PM Malcolm Turnbull by saying America should have got a heads up about these sorts of things. Land. China is also the second biggest foreign owner of Australian farmland behind the UK, with the Australian Tax Office report on foreign investment of local agricultural land revealing China owns 9.169 million hectares and 23.4% of foreign-held farmland. And then there's the other factor as well that I think is going to have more of an impact on the average punter, and this is something we've shown several times. This is the Foreign Investment Review, and just the huge spike in building approvals for foreign investors, and a large portion of those are from China or similar countries. So there we have it, guys. A selection of companies which are owned by, interests from China. What do you reckon? Do you think you'll be able to ban them all or to avoid them all? What happens when you can't find anything Australian made? Do you think this will be a wake-up call for some people to realize just where it's all headed, guys? Because you're gonna have a lot of people calling for these bans, and I don't think they'll realize. If someone's tweeting about this on a phone manufactured overseas, it'd be impossible to get something made in this country. There you go. We're not a big country. We're 25 million people, everyone. We can't be isolationist from the rest of the world. There's going to be a price to pay. And I think we're the ones that are going to cop it, one way or another. So we'll have to see. What are your thoughts and opinions, everyone? Are you trying to avoid supporting Chinese businesses? Or do you not care and will just go upon your own way? Or do you have to take care of your family first? As always, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.